Do you like ice cream? Yes, I do. And I've eaten a lot of ice cream throughout the years. That's why I'm fat. I'm a chunky monkey, chunky monkey. How many businesses are you hiding your fortune in? It's always so weird. Like you do business, make money, and that's hiding assets. It's like, would you rather me just not make jobs? So it'd be a lot easier for me to just give it all Goldman Sachs and be like, go invest all that, and I'll just live on my ranch and live off the interest. I have businesses. I build things. I raise bison. I'm setting up a Scottish restaurant called Nessie's. I'm setting up a game development company. Got my clinic in Gillette, Wyoming. And every one of these, what do? They create jobs. We hire people, and those people, they get health insurance and they get a 401k and they actually get wages substantially higher than most of the areas that we hire them from. One of the things that you have to do if you ever stumble upon wealth is you have a moral obligation to build stuff. You have an obligation to construct things. You have an obligation to improve structures you already own. You have an obligation to set up businesses. That wealth is power, and you have to deploy it for the good of your community. So Gillette, Wyoming is a great example of that. I wanted to do anti-aging and longevity and regenerative medicine. I wanted to do a really cool medical venture. So I call people around. We go over the Buck Institute, and they say, well, this is what you need to do. And I read Dave Sinclair's book, and I read Dave Asprey's book, and then we got Peter Attia's stuff coming out here in March. And, so I look at all these, I watch the podcasts, and then everybody tells me, okay, well, you should set it up in Boulder, Colorado, or you should set it up in Denver or a major population center because you have a large patient base. And I say, well, why can't I set up my clinic, my anti-aging clinic in Gillette, Wyoming? And they laughed at me. They said, you'll never get doctors. There's not enough people there, and everybody's backward. Literally, this is like scientists telling me this. Stereotyping, those unwashed masses in the Midwest. It's just the arrogance and the elitism. I say, if I go build a clinical center of excellence in a place like Boulder or Denver, it competes with the clinical centers of excellence that are already there. Plenty of people already have good health care. They get it because of money. Okay? I go build it in Gillette. Even if you have money in Gillette, you still get shit health care. For every 3 doctors they need, they only have 1 doctor. And it's the suicide capital of the United States. I was visiting an event at a high school there in Gillette, and while walking through the high school, there were 3 different signs, 3, saying, please don't kill yourself, for kids, because of how bad it is there. Nutrition's terrible. There's an obesity problem, a cancer problem, a suicide problem. It is a healthcare desert. So even just doing a little bit dramatically changes the lives of 75,000 people. But you listen to the mentality of a lot of these people floating around, and they say, oh, well, don't do that because you'll never make any money, or don't do that because it's not the best way to launch. But what about the dignity of human lives? So you got the money, you got to go build stuff. Now, it wasn't cheap. Where we built the clinic out in Gillette, we bought this old restaurant. It was called the Skyline Grill. It was 4,000 square feet, and we upgraded it to 10,000 square feet. It wasn't really supposed to do that, but we figured out a way to make it happen and make it beautiful. And I put in terrazzo floors, and nobody in the state of Wyoming could do that, so we had to get somebody to come on down and do it. We put in coffered ceilings, put beautiful statues and artwork, and it's just a stunning facility. Soundproofed all the exam rooms. We thought about patient flow really carefully, so the nurse stations were put in a way where they're very, very easy for people to get around. Widen the hallways a bit so it's easy to get patients around. Really nice lighting, really nice acoustical properties. It's an incredible place to work just for primary care. Then we have 2 nice procedure rooms. But then what happened is once we have that foundation, well, by the way, we had to dig a sewer out there. Took 18 months to dig the goddamn sewer out. And actually at the lowest gradient, we had to dig down 28 feet. And OSHA has a regulation that when you dig down a foot, you have to dig 2 feet across for your channel. So we had a 56-foot by 28-foot channel. For you guys who live in metric land, that's almost 18 meters by 8 meters. Think about that. That's a huge channel, 3 trench boxes inside of it to get a damn sewer line across 4 different properties, easements on 4 different properties. But we did it to get a sewer line, and we put geothermal in because I'm a big fan of sustainability. We dug 19 geothermal wells. No one had ever done that in all of Campbell County. So we created a lot of jobs and, put a lot of money into it. But, here's the end result of it is that now that we're taking care of patients, we have a temporary clinic that we've set up while we're finishing out the main clinic site. We already have 2,000 patients in the panel, get hundreds of calls every week. And we've already dramatically had an impact on the healthcare in Campbell County. And we haven't even gotten started yet. We don't have the full CLIA approved lab running yet. We don't have the pharmacy running yet. It's a compounding pharmacy. We're still waiting on some stuff for the imaging center because we're bringing the first 3 Tesla MRI in that entire area, first 256 slice CAT scan, I think the entire state of Wyoming. Got a PET module, got a DEXA scan that we're bringing in, got a SPECT scan so we can do a lot of brain studies for blood flow. All of these things completely absent. In fact, we are the very first entity in the state of Wyoming to actually buy a MaxStim. And you say, what the heck is a MaxStim, Charles? Well, let me show you. So MaxStim therapy, super cool device, and it blows my mind that the vast majority of doctors don't use these things or don't know anything about it. So basically, it's a transcranial magnetic stimulation device. And let me show you what it looks like. Let's see, we're on the innovative neuromodulation. I'll be under products. Here we go. Yeah, so we have the Horizon Performance. And we're just getting trained on it right now. So it's an FDA cleared device. And basically it uses magnetic stimulation on a person who has depression. And you actually it's Medicare approved after 2 failed therapy lines. So if they've taken SSRIs, so antidepressants, and they haven't worked, you can use this device. And about a third of the time, 33% of the time, it cures their depression. Third of the time, it actually makes it better. Third of the time, it doesn't work at all. It's actually dramatically better than taking prescription drugs. And when it cures it usually permanently. And you only need 36 treatments over, I think, a 90-day period. And just magnetic reset of your brain. How about that? Like 100 plus papers, placebo-controlled clinical trials that come through. So we bought it, training people in the area on how to use it. Why? Because again, suicide and depression capital of Wyoming, which is one of the highest rates in the entire nation. And there aren't any pediatric psychiatrists there. There aren't any people that actually treat these things, despite the fact they have so much PTSD and dependency and addiction and other problems, domestic violence, et cetera, et cetera. So we build this thing, and then we find this device and we bring it in. We find another device. It's actually a super cool device. It scans your whole body for moles, and it takes 10 seconds to do it. Just in your underwear, and like the whole body, and puts them all in and uses AI and lets you know if there's a mole that looks cancerous or not. State-of-the-art equipment that you would expect to see at Lanzerhof or Mayo or at Johns Hopkins, not at Gillette, Wyoming. Because I made money, I was able to build something like that and bring something like that to a community. Now, maybe we make a profit, maybe we don't make a profit. That's my business of figuring out if we can make those economics work or not. But what it does do is it makes my community better. And that's how it should be. There's this bizarre, perverse socialist mentality that's infected people, that when they look at people who are of means, they say they are the enemy and their mere presence in society is offensive. And we have to take everything from them to give to a government, which, by the way, when a train derails, they don't show up, but then they go overseas to give that money to somebody else. I'm sorry. If you think the U.S. government is here to protect you or take care of you, or it's a good decider of where to invest money and help you out, you're not thinking clearly. We have to take care of ourselves. We have to take care of our communities, and that's the job, and that's what we're supposed to do. And that's what I'm doing. So in Wheatland, building a restaurant because there aren't any good ones. Trying to create a new ranching model that's profitable so the ranches don't go out of business and Bill Gates will go and buy them and force us to eat crickets. And Gillette trying to reinvent healthcare and do different things that cure stuff. That's one of our mission statements at the clinic there, curative medicine. Why? Because I'm getting real tired of everything saying you should take a pill for the rest of your life. And then in the cryptocurrency space, we try to reinvent the nature of money and put you in charge of your identity and put you in charge of your money. Now, these aren't controversy-free things. If you notice, Cointelegraph just released their top 100 most influential people. They put number 26 as the fossil hard fork. Certainly, and I'm left off. So obviously, while you do this type of stuff, pisses people off. They write books. They say horrible things. People who have never met you think you're the worst human being alive, and every single thing you do is evil or a scam. But you don't do it for them. You don't do it for the fame. You do it because it's the right thing to do. That's what character is all about. Yeah, it was the Rick Sanchez burp.